Hello and welcome back to UpTrade Alpha. Me and Ben have another video around high conviction plays. Ben, how are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. The market is green, as you can see on this Crypto Bubbles website here. So market's up. I'm happy.
I'm happy as well. And we've got a few different tokens that, have been showing a lot of strength in the last couple months, and even a few that have been showing a lot of strength in the last couple days. So, yeah, may as well get into it. What token have you got today?
My coin is a super high conviction play, which is what today's video is about. I think it can push to the top 10 in ranking in market cap, which would be a 3x from today's prices. We have talked about it briefly in the past. We've done a token report before, but today I'm going to go in depth with it. And that coin is Hyperliquid.
Yeah, awesome. And this is one that's actually pretty new to the space, only a few months old, and it's been gaining a lot of mind share in the crypto realm. So, yeah, really keen to dive into this one, hear your thoughts on it, and why it is such a high conviction play for you.
Before I get into the technicals and the fundamentals, Hyperliquid has one of the best communities in the crypto space, one of the strongest, which is exactly what you need in a crypto project. And if you can combine community with real utility, that's a great combination for success.
100%. I think the community is the soul and the backbone behind most projects. And exactly what you need behind a project is that community. So, as you said, this is exactly what you want to see. And yeah, it is building one of the strongest in the crypto space.
And the reason why it was adopted so highly by the community is it had a untraditional launch where on day one it surged in price, which we see often day one launches dump as token holders just dump on market, take profit straight away. But what Hyperliquid did was it gave away 70% of its total supply to the community, rewarding those loyal to it. And it has no investors, no VCs. It's a fully community-driven project.
Yeah, they took a really organic approach to the way they distributed their tokens. I think that the way they did the airdrop, giving 70% of their supply to their users, was amazing because a lot of projects who do try to incentivize through airdrops and loyalty programs, they, end up only giving maybe 7, 8% of their supply to the community. The rest of the other supply is given to the team or early investors, things like that, who end up dumping on those community members. So the way that they've structured it, I think, is really bullish. It fostered great growth, and this is why we've seen it go up in value so much.
Yep, great insights there on the community-driven approach there, Kane. Now I'm just going to quickly jump into the fundamental aspects of Hyperliquid and why I'm so bullish on it. So Hyperliquid is a layer one blockchain and it's leading the shift in crypto trading away from centralized exchanges and bringing it on-chain. And what on-chain means is just trading, off Binance, off CoinSpot, and you're trading on the blockchain on these decentralized platforms. And perpetual trading is such a revenue generating product in crypto. That's how all the exchanges make their fees and revenue. And that's the product behind Hyperliquid and drawing all the attention there. But unlike traditional platforms where Binance, where they extract billions in fees from spread, which enrich the exchange themselves, Hyperliquid returns those fees towards a buyback model and it buys back its token itself.
Yeah, you make a great point around the revenue model behind Hyperliquid. I think the buyback model is such a strong incentive to buy the token because that gives back to token holders through price appreciation. You did touch on the difference between a centralized exchange and how this is decentralized. Maybe you can go into a bit more detail behind that.
Yep, I have a pretty good example as well to highlight the difference between a centralized and decentralized. So with Hyperliquid, every transaction is fully transparent on the chain. You can see every user's go to the wallet, see what they've traded. You can't hide anything. And an example of this is in the recent liquidation event that occurred last week, where a lot of money got wiped out. It was reported it was about $2 billion from centralized exchanges. And then it came out in the wash. It was actually around $10 billion, but it just wasn't reported. It was just hidden.
Yeah, I think it was a Bybit CEO who tweeted saying that his exchange itself had $2 billion and that yeah, it was more like 8 to 10 billion, which is a lot of money. And yeah, it does hide transparency from users.
And there's a massive catalyst upcoming in Hyperliquid's ecosystem, and that's going to be the launch of Hyper EVM, which is basically going to allow it to scale DeFi applications built on its layer one. And it's expected to have hundreds of projects launched on chain.
Yeah, awesome. And that's like probably the most exciting part about this. A lot of people are waiting this because, yeah, it's going to be one of these ecosystems we expect to start to draw in a lot of liquidity, probably going to start growing really high in TVL as well and competing against the likes of Sui or Solana.
Yeah, the founder of Hyperliquid just he talked a couple of days ago, and his prediction for 2025 is that Hyperliquid will support many multi-billion-dollar applications and protocols built on top of that. And with that, Hype, the coin, would be the gas fee, the local native coin on it. It'll be used in staking and liquidity pools. It has massive utility behind it.
Yeah, amazing. Well, that was a great insight on hype. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think a lot of value will come out of this for a lot of people.
Yep, I hope so. It's one of my top picks for this cycle, and we'll see how it plays out.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep, Kane, your turn now. I'd love to hear what your high conviction play is.
Okay, so the token I am bringing to the table today is B3. It is a recently released coin, about 2 days old now, and one we've been readily watching for the last couple of weeks. So, Ben, have you heard of this one before?
I have. I have. Of course, I'm very bullish on the base ecosystem. I think that's going to have a lot of great projects built on it throughout this cycle. And so I'm also pretty intapped with the gaming scene. And so I was keeping eyes on this closely before it launched.
Yeah, awesome. And as you said, this is a GameFi play, so in the gaming sector. And what it is a gaming infrastructure layer built on Base that is led by a team of ex Coinbase engineers, specifically Base engineers. So they've been in the game for a while. They understand how blockchain works. They understand how to attract new users and what they're looking for. So this one really stood out to us. And one of the big things also is that it has its full backing from Jesse Pollack, which is the head of Coinbase, the base chain. So yeah, those are some strong things that it has going for it at the moment. As you can see, it is also backed by Coinbase. So yeah, what it is doing is it's focused on enabling game studios, something like Prime, Echelon Prime, one we've covered before, also developers and gamers to build open on-chain ecosystems behind their games. So really interesting. So as you can see, Open Gaming Layer 3, it is a Layer 3 built on top of the base chain. So it's another layer on top of that where the gaming is going on. So if you scroll down a little bit, Ben, we can have a look at some of the stats here. So as you can see, it hosts over 6 million active users. It has over 226 million transactions and over 94 games. And their goal is to make this an ecosystem where it hosts over hundreds of games by the end of the year. So yeah, one we're really interested in. We think that gaming on chain makes a lot of sense, and it's about time that something like this comes out to really revolutionize this space.
That's true. Gaming in the Web2 world is $1 trillion industry, and we see great potential for that to follow into Web3, into crypto, into blockchain. It just probably hasn't hit that mark quite yet, but I think it's inevitable that it eventually finds its way into crypto. A narrative I like to look out for in GameFi plays is not just betting on a project that has one game, It's betting on a project that incorporates multiple games. It doesn't rely on the success of one project.
So yeah, basically what this allows a lot of different games and game developers to do is build their own game chain. And one in particular, Prime is building their own called Prime Chain, which will be built on top of the B3 ecosystem. And this is one that we've covered quite a bit. It is a third-person sci-fi extraction shooter game. Has a lot of potential, a lot of users already using it. And yeah, I thought may as well pick your brain, Ben, because you've been such a strong believer in Prime, and I think it's a really bullish thing to see a game of that standard building on something like B3.
Correct. I think Echelon Prime and this company is building something that no other company in crypto and GameFi is doing. Their co-founder Kalos is a mastermind behind it, and to see that the third game that they're launching is going through B3, and they've actually been building behind the scenes on this for the last few months, gives me great confidence in what B3 is doing on base, and it's really important to have a good team behind a product. Like I was saying in Hyperliquid, the team's super crucial. And so I have a lot of trust behind Prime, and if they're choosing B3, it's a great sign.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, a strong team always correlates to a lot of success for a company. So as you can see on the screen, it says no wallet or sign in is required. And why this is so bullish is because it increases accessibility for gamers. So it becomes a direct funnel for Web2 gamers who want to come into Web3 gaming and, play games without the need to connect a wallet or to be, using the blockchain when they want to just be playing games. And what I think this does is by putting it in the background and, making this more seamless, it's really attracting more users to want to play this without the need to go out of their way to make their, user gaming experience harder than it should be. Okay, so now here we have the game page. So as everyone is aware, there is a lot of work that needs to be done in Web3 gaming. We still need to see a lot more higher standard games, and I'm a big believer that, once we see these AAA games coming to the blockchain, it's going to really revolutionize and become the direct funnel we need for GameFi to really kick off. But, I thought may as well show you this now. So basically, as you can see, here you can play different games. So some games do require you to have the B3 token to play the game, and then there's some that you can actually play for free. So these are a few of them that is currently on chain. So as you can see, this is Parallel, which is the biggest game on Echelon Prime. Currently, you can play it on B3. Ben, have you used this before?
Yeah, I actually have played it because, I wanted to get in touch with what I'm actually invested in. And another reason why they're very generous with their prize pools. And they had a $2 million tournament going on. I think it was only around 10,000 players. So I was like, one against 10,000, I have a decent chance. So I played the game, see if I could earn some rewards. Unfortunately, my skills didn't stack up against the best, but it was a good experience nonetheless.
Damn, so no $2 million payout. That's why you're still here today, yeah?
Yeah, not unless Prime goes up in value.
Fair enough. Alrighty, may as well move on to the utility behind B3 because I think this is one of the more important things to cover. So basically, with the B3 token, you can stake it to receive exposure to future B3 game chains. So, for example, Prime Chain. There's also another one called God Chain, which is coming out. And what that means is, as they become more successful as games, you will earn more rewards. Another big benefit is that you can use B3 to fund or publish your own game on B3. So basically, the big developers that are wanting to develop a game on B3 will need to have this token to do so. So that is again driving the price and the demand for the token. Lastly, we have early access to new games and features for gamers. So this is a really big one because a lot of gamers are looking for the edge in the market, also just like to be early in different things. So having that token, giving them early access, I find is, really cool, a really cool feature to have. And then, yeah, on top of that, we also have the governance, and the governance kind of speaks for itself, basically, how it can shape the project and shape the ecosystem going forward. Yeah, you as a holder have a say and have a vote, which is really cool. So, more or less, that kind of covers B3 in total. I won't go on too much more. Last thing I did want to mention is because of this being a new token, in the last 2 days, it actually, rose 300%. I think it's trading around a fully diluted valuation of around $1.5 billion dollars. We were fortunate enough to see it around 500 million, but by the time we could even release a video, it had reached that $1.5 billion dollars. So yeah, with any token newly launched and with a bit lower liquidity, it is important to tread with caution. I think this does have a lot of potential, but I also do think in the next week or so there is likely to be a retracement, and what that allows us to do is have potentially better opportunities. So I wouldn't be jumping the gun too early. But if you do want that long-term approach, I don't think it is a bad play.
Yep, I agree there, Kane. We all know not to buy the 300% candles on the daily, that wait for things to just cool down a little bit. But I do agree that is a great long-term play. And I think that brings us to the end today.
It sure does. It was a good video. Yeah, really happy to be jumping back on these as the ecosystem and the whole crypto space is kind of finding its feet again. I think a lot of altcoins are showing a lot more strength in the recent days. So yeah, it was a good time to release one, and hopefully we have more positive price action in the coming weeks.
Yep. Cheers, Kane. Thank you. See you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. Bye.